In most American cities, walking isn't just inconvenient, it's almost impossible. You'll find neighborhoods with no sidewalks, grocery stores miles away, and streets built only for cars. But why? Why are American cities so unwalkable when cities around the world make walking the default? Today we're diving into the history, design choices, and policies that led to this, and looking at what it would take to fix this. Before we start, subscribe and support me on Patreon. All money goes directly to my university funds. Walkability isn't just about sidewalks, though those matter. It's about density, mixed-use zoning, and street design. It's also about transit. Walkability and public transport go hand in hand. One extends the other. In short, walkability is about making cities for people, not just for cars. Here's the twist. American cities used to be walkable. Places like Boston, Philadelphia, New Orleans, and Chicago were built with 4 cars. Their street grids are tight, their buildings are close together, and most daily errands can still be done on foot. But something changed in the 20th century. Not just how cities grew, but how we planned them. After World War II, the US experienced a housing boom. Millions of returning veterans needed homes, and thanks to rising incomes, cheap fuel, and a growing car industry, those homes didn't need to be in cities, they could be in suburbs. This was the rise of suburbanization, powered by one thing above all, the automobile. Next, zoning. Here's where things get technical and problematic. To build these new suburbs, cities adopted single-use zoning laws. That meant neighborhoods could only have one purpose: residential, commercial, or industrial. This separated homes from stores, schools, and workplaces, all of which now required driving. And it wasn't accidental. Zoning was seen as a way to protect property values, often as a proxy for racial and economic exclusion. Even today, 75% of residential land in US cities is zoned exclusively for single-family homes. That means you legally can't build an apartment, shop, or corner cafe, even if it would be walkable. Compare that to European or Japanese cities where buildings often mix retail, housing, and offices, making walking the default, not the exception. As suburban growth exploded, so did the roads. In the 1950s, the US built the Interstate Highway System, a visionary project for national transport, but devastating for urban walkability. Entire neighborhoods were bulldozed to make room for highways, often cutting minority communities in half. Meanwhile, city planners adopted the logic of car-first design: wide roads, huge intersections, and parking lots on every corner. For example, Houston has more than 30 parking spaces per resident. That's not a typo. And all that space has to go somewhere, which means less room for homes, shops, and sidewalks. Today, the average American city dedicates more land to cars than to people. Let's look at some examples. Phoenix, Arizona is one of the fastest growing cities in the US, but also one of the least walkable. Suburbs stretch for miles, transit is minimal, and 100-degree summers make long walks dangerous. Jacksonville, Florida is a city with one of the largest land areas in the country. Public transport is sparse, and zoning ensures that homes, shops, and offices are almost always separated. Then there's Dallas, Texas, where many residential areas have no sidewalks, and grocery stores are often several miles apart. In all of these cities, the average American person drives over 25 miles per day. Not because they want to, but because they have to. So why does this even matter? Well, for starters, cars are expensive. The average annual cost of owning a car is over $12,000. That's a massive burden, especially for lower income families. But it's also about health. In walkable cities, people get more daily activity, have lower obesity rates, and stronger social connections. And then there's safety. The US has some of the highest pedestrian fatality rates in the developed world, much of it due to road design that prioritizes speed over safety. There's also the climate impact. Transportation is the largest source of emissions in the US, and most of that comes from personal vehicles. In short, building unwalkable cities has made us less healthy, less safe, and less sustainable. But not every city fell into this trap. New York City, despite its cost, remains America's most walkable city, with over 80% of residents in Manhattan living without a car. Washington, D.C., Boston, San Francisco, and Philadelphia all retain walkable cores, with dense housing, good transit, and mixed-use zoning. But more interesting are the smaller cities making walkability work without breaking the bank. There's Madison, Wisconsin, with compact streets, active transit planning, and affordable housing. Portland, Oregon limits parking minimums and invests in bike infrastructure. Buffalo, New York is a legacy city now revitalizing old neighborhoods around pedestrians. These cities show that walkability is not a luxury, it's a policy choice. If you're enjoying the video so far, please subscribe and support me on Patreon, link in the description. What if we flip the question? Instead of asking why is walkability so hard, we ask what is car dependence costing us? A 2023 study estimated that Americans spend over $1.3 trillion annually on car ownership, from fuel to insurance to maintenance. That's more than the GDP of Spain. And at the city level, infrastructure for cars is expensive too. Maintaining roads, highways, traffic signals, and parking structures adds billions to public budgets. So while walkable cities require investment, sidewalks, transit, zoning reform, they also save money in the long run. The good news is change is happening. In places like California, Oregon, and Minneapolis, zoning laws are being rewritten to allow for duplexes, triplexes, and small apartments to form in formerly single-family zones. Cities like Charlotte, Salt Lake City, and Denver are reimagining their downtowns, adding transit lines, bike infrastructure, and pedestrian plazas. Even suburbs are experimenting. Arlington, Virginia transformed its metro corridors into dense, walkable villages without losing its suburban character. There's growing recognition that building for cars alone is unsustainable, and that more people want to live in places where walking is safe, pleasant, and practical. So what would it take to make American cities walkable again? Zoning reform, transit investment with frequent, reliable buses and trains, street redesign, narrower roads, slower speeds, and wider sidewalks, parking policy, reducing or removing minimums that inflate housing costs, and community planning, listening to residents about what actually works. It's not about turning every city into Manhattan, it's about giving people options. Options to live near work, to walk their kids to school, to age in a place without a car, and to enjoy public life. Not from behind a windshield, but on their own 2 feet. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and support me on Patreon, link in the description. And comment, what is your city doing to become more walkable?